Tao's headlining news. Up first, a man by the name of James McKinley reported to officials yesterday at 6 p.m. regarding a mysterious and dangerous man of whom he met on the way to a wedding. The mysterious and dangerous man identified himself as a mariner and was accused of intentionally corrupting the mind of McKinley. The name of the mariner is yet to be released, and no comments have been made as to what his intentions were. After 3 days of searching, officials apprehended the mariner for further investigation and have not yet released further details. Joining us today is Mr. McKinley himself with his account on the incident. Good to have you with us, Mr. McKinley.
Pleased to be here.
I have just received a note from the producers saying that you requested some images to go along as you tell your story. Why did you feel that images were important?
Well, the story itself is a little bit crazy, as you will soon find out, but I felt that images will help the viewers kind of visualize it in a more realistic way.
Mr. McKinley, what exactly did the man do to you that caused you to report to the police?
I was on the way to a wedding when a long and gray-bearded loon with glittering eyes stopped me. He held me with his skinny hands and began his story. I interrupted him because obviously I was frightened. I told him to take his hands off of me, and he did. However, his glittering eyes made it impossible for me to look away. It may sound crazy, but his eyes had a power over me. It was impossible for me to release myself from the grip of his tail.
Please tell us, what was the tale about?
He began with the ship scene, and in the middle of the scene, I heard the wedding bassoon. I knew that it meant that I needed to go, but I couldn't. Those eyes, I'm telling you, they were powerful. I had no choice but to continue listening. He continued on with a storm that sent the ship south. There was ice all around the ship until the albatross appeared, causing the ice to disappear. The appearance of the albatross brought the men good luck, and they praised it. And when he told me this, his face grew sullen, and I asked him what the matter was. He replied that he had killed the albatross. Why, I really don't know.
Do you think that his intention was important?
No, I do not. The reason why a person does something is not important. The fact of the matter is they still did it.
Now, Mr. McKinley, was this the end of the story?
Oh, heavens, no. The men were struck with dehydration. There was water everywhere, but none for them to drink. The mariner claimed that his spirit was following the ship from a land of mist and snow. That's not even the strangest part. The mariner had seen something in the distance moving towards them. However, he couldn't speak because his throat was so dry from dehydration. He bit his arm and sucked the blood, and that's not even close to the end. According to the man, the people on the boat were death and life and death. They threw dice for the souls of the crew. Death took the lives of the crew, while life and death took the life of the mariner. All the sailors but the mariner dropped dead, cursing him with their eyes. The man even claimed that he saw the souls flying from their bodies.
Why do you think life and death wanted the mariner?
Guessing by her name, she probably wanted to punish the mariner by making him suffer throughout life for killing the albatross. He had killed something that may not have meant anything to him, but meant a lot to others. Because of his actions, he was left alone on the ship, surrounded by the corpses of the fallen crew.
Please do continue.
Well, the man was left alone on the ship, surrounded by the corpses of the fallen mariners. He tried to pray to God, but was stopped by a wicked whisper that made his heart as dry as dust. After 7 days and 7 nights, he saw water snakes moving in the water, and the beautiful sight gave him the strength to pray. Spirits entered the corpses, and they worked to continue sailing. The boat began to go back and forth, and the mariner fell down. He heard two voices in the air. One of them asked if it was he that had killed the albatross. The other said that he had done penance for his crime and would continue to do more. When the mariner woke up from his trance, he saw the dead men standing together on the deck, looking at him with their stony eyes. The mariner said that he saw seraphs stepping out of the corpses of the sailors, and each of them waved at the mariner. He soon saw a pilot, his son, and a hermit making their way towards him. As they drew closer, his ship sank into a whirlpool, and he soon found himself aboard the pilot's ship. When they reached land, the mariner begged the hermit to relieve him of his sin and wash away the blood of the albatross from his soul. The hermit asked the mariner to share his tale, and once he shared his tale, he was free from the agony of his guilt. However, his guilt would return to him over time until he went to a new place to tell his tale again. He said that he knew who he must tell a tale to the moment he saw the person.
Now, do you believe the mariner's tale is true?
Some parts were definitely real and from his memory and heart. Other parts must have been distorted by his own guilt. As much as I want to believe that he made up the whole story, there's no way he could have told it with that much emotion if he made it up. He put his heart into the tale. That emotion was real.
Even with all of the seraphs and spirits flying out of the corpses?
Like I said, those parts were most likely imagined and distorted. But then again, after I heard the tale, anything seems to be possible. I mean, the man survived and is still alive.
Why do you think he told the tale to you?
To free himself from guilt and unhappiness. However, the unhappiness was passed along to me. But why me out of all people? That's the part I don't get. It has bothered me every day since he told me. I can't figure it out. Why me? What makes me different? Why did I have to listen to that haunting story that made me a much sadder man the next day? I'm certain that anybody listening to his story and seeing his expression would have felt the same way as I did.
Would you say that you have become a wiser person?
Perhaps, but I would never want to give up my happiness to be a wiser person. Never.
If you could have, would you have walked away from the Mariner's tale?
Without a doubt, yes. And the reason why I reported to the police is because I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. I could have lived happily not knowing what the mariner went through. I'm only 25.
Do you think you could ever forget his story?
Ma'am, a story like this isn't one that is forgettable. I can still hear his voice in the back of my head telling me his story, constantly reminding me not to do this or that, so that I don't mess up like he did. But I don't want to live my life like that. Actions aren't always meant to be thought over before done. We only learn from mistakes.
We're about out of time, Mr. McKinley. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just really don't want anybody else going through what I went through. I hope the mariner's storytelling is put to a stop and the minds of people like me no longer have to be tortured.
Hopefully no one else will have to go through what Mr. McKinley went through. These shirts are available on www.stopthemariner.com, and all proceeds will go towards the Stop the Mariner Foundation. Alright, up next is Jenna Jones with the weather report.